Ooh, okay.
Hello and welcome to Stateside on Politics Social. I'm Graham Hughes and I'm joined by Brenna Duncan all the way over in California. How you doing? Brenna, you okay?
Everything's okay here. We haven't
Okay,
had
cool.
any massive weather events like the rest of the country.
Oh shit, yes, in Western North Carolina, even though it's like 300 miles from the coast, it was absolutely smashed by that hurricane that came in and Hurricane Helene. And yeah, some of the before and after pics are just apocalyptic, absolutely
I
apocalyptic.
mean, billions and billions of dollars in
Yeah,
just absolute devastation. And like, I being in California, we don't get hurricanes, so we just see what's on the news.
yeah,
And I I like it is apocalyptic
yeah,
what this hurricane has done to pretty much a large percentage of the country
yeah,
itself
yeah.
because of the way that because usually hurricanes they kind of like they might go into the Gulf and kind of go through Florida and then maybe up the
They
coast like
tend
it
to attack
usually is.
Florida. They don't tend to go as far north as North Carolina. North Carolina.
Look, I'm all like Florida fine. It people live there and choose to live there and they don't realize how many hurricanes and destruction it is. Like there's insurance companies that are stopping um actually insuring for
Yeah.
hurricanes because it's just so many.
If only
And
someone had warned us this would happen if we continued to burn fossil fuels at the rate that we were burning them from 1975 onwards.
you, I mean, I stopped calling it climate change. It's a crisis because
Yeah.
of this. And
Yeah.
this hurricane didn't just go up, go through Florida and then sort of peter away at South Carolina.
Yeah.
It it went inland.
Mm.
It went up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it caused more damage. And we're seeing like one of the things that these hurricanes do is it's not just the wind that destroys things, but the floodwaters.
Yeah.
And the
Yeah.
floodwaters, they go through the sewage system, and we know what's in the sewage system.
Yeah.
And then it takes out plants of all different kinds
Yep.
from
All the crops
the
gone.
we have like
Homes
electricity
ruined. Yeah.
gone, we have oil production and
Buildings have been just been
refineries
swept away. Like
gone.
entire streets are just not there anymore.
I
It's
just I just heard that they had like a chemical plant for um the like pool and spa chemicals that like and the chlorine
oh god.
just got dispersed
Oh
in the
god.
air. So now there's chlorine and this
Which is
this is
toxic.
this is not good. And
No.
um
No.
I
And we
I
need to be addressing this. Just before we came on, we were talking about the last coal-fired power station in Britain has now closed down, and that's it now. It's all well, it's a lot of gas. We're still burning a lot of gas, but that's not quite as
Mhm.
bad as coal. But we're the UK is the first developed nation or advanced nation, I suppose, that has managed to do away
Mhm.
with coal entirely out of its power mix, which is definitely a step in the right direction. And it happened a year early. A year early. Like, who's ever heard of this happening a year early? And the reason why is because the forces that have been trying to hold back doing anything about climate change have been defeated by themselves effectively because they've been defeated by capitalism. Because making wind power and making power from solar just became so much more effective and so much cheaper than digging coal out the ground in Argentina and shipping it halfway across the world and
See,
then
we
burning
we
it.
don't have that. We don't have that mentality here. And that's what's really damaging because the we do still have coal production. We
Yeah.
still have
Well, we don't have that
refinery.
mentality here. Even there were people who were complaining about getting rid of coal entirely, and they wanted to open a new coal mine up in Cumbria. Well, thankfully, that's not happened.
Did you guys get the whole like, oh, it'll lose jobs and people will
Yeah,
lose their
yeah, lose their
livelihoods?
jobs. Yeah,
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 and you're like, but like are we too stupid to train other people to do other things? I don't think so.
no,
I think we have full capability of continuing people's jobs. We'll
yeah,
just move away from these very destructive elements and
yeah,
create we it as the economic plan, the climate, was the Green New Deal and the Build Back Better infrastructure build, we know that it's actually it's better for our economy to go into these type. We have solar, we have wind.
I always think of the time when I went to the port of Brisbane and I was allowed to go up into the tower, that sort of looks over all the containers. And they have a whole area that's sectioned off. It's all automated. It's all robots that take the stuff take the containers off the ships, and then it puts them in a particular place. Like in the Amazon warehouse, they have robots that move things around. Yeah. Just like that but on a bigger scale. And I said, once it went automated, I asked, did lots of people lose their jobs? I said, no, not a single person lost their jobs. All that's happened is that now instead of being out in a forklift come rain, hail or shine, we're now in this operating booth, which is nice and air conditioned, and it's a nice place to live. It's a nice environment to work. Sorry, not to live maybe, but yeah, we're just way more productive. So for every 2 boxes they could move in the past, per half hour, now they can move 7 or whatever it is. So it
actually increases production.
It increases, and you can keep the job so long as you retrain people to do something similar, but people can be retrained. Like the idea that you learn how to do a job at the age of 16 and then that's all you can do for the rest of your life.
I mean, that's the old idea. That's the old idea. The back in the, the 40s and 50s.
You'll be teaching me, not you.
It was basically like once you were in a factory job, that was the only job that you could have because you were uneducated.
Yeah.
But we are not like that. And we have institutions that will, in fact, retrain you to do jobs that which would be more effective in our way. And better pay, better.
Indeed. Yeah.
I mean, we have to have, healthcare through our jobs. So the better you do, the better your healthcare.
Yeah.
But
yeah, well, I mean, that's a weird American thing, but we'll come on to that in a moment. I just want to say a big thank you to Puddinator for the £5 super chat. You feeling all right, Graham? You started early. No, I didn't. Or on time, which is early for you usually. Because what normally happens is, right, there's a few different things, right, why we don't start bang on at the half an hour. One is that something goes wrong. Like the mic doesn't work. Sometimes I have to reset my computer because once I get the person I'm supposed to be speaking to comes up, the refresh rate's really bad, and the only way to sort that out is literally to reset the computer, which takes a minute. Wow. So there's always that, and then there's the thing that if I have guests on, we get chatting. Phil's the worst for this. Like if Phil's in full flow, you just can't interrupt him, and we've been like 3-4 minutes late because Phil's been rabbiting on. No offense, Phil, if you're watching, I love you, but I mean that's my excuse. Phil will say, "Oh, you gave me the link too late," because I do that. But then, that hot thing of like, oh, we'll meet 15 minutes earlier and then we'll just make small talk. And I always think, I want that small talk to be in the show. I don't want it to be. It's like the other day, we had Femi, he was staying at my parents in Liverpool because we were there for the late party conference. And after the morning show that I did with him, he was having a chat with Phil. And they were just yakking up. They were, really having a good political debate. And I'm like, stop talking. Yeah. I want you to do this on camera.
Yeah, let's move this on.
Yeah, we're wasting all the good stuff. Anyway, big thank you to Puddinator.
We've done that at Bin. We've done that at the Bin too, where it's like, and sometimes Mikey
best play.
We'll press the button while like mid talking, and then we'll have half of our conversation actually on.
Yeah. Mike doesn't work or Mikey doesn't work, says Fax. Well, sometimes like my background doesn't work, and sometimes this happened the other day when Rachel came on, and for whatever reason, the background, you could see the green screen, but she was completely keyed out. It was really weird. So yeah, we've got just technical things. Anyway, that's usually why we're a little bit late, but don't blame us, we're not making Brewsters doing this. Anyway, just to say hi to Dave W, Emma Price, got Sarah Davis in the chat. Mikey's in the chat. Hey, Mikey, how you doing? We've got Simon M and Al Roan and Vendetta. One-Eyed Pagans in the chat, amongst others. If you would like to join them in the chat and join us on the show effectively, just subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, and you can leave a comment after waiting for about 30 seconds. So we're going to mainly talk about JD Vance tonight because it's coming up to the to the debate the great debate between Tim Waltz
Yeah.
and JD Vance, which is tomorrow night, right? It's tomorrow night. It's not tonight.
Yes, it's tomorrow night.
We'll
I
be
gotta
doing a
figure
watch
out
party, so tune in at
watch
2 a.m. or whatever
party.
bastard time it is. Bastard o'clock, that's when it's going to be. I'm going to be there with
uh
me coffee like this. Oh, I'm too old for this shit.
you'll be fine.
Mm.
Um, it is, yeah, I don't know what I gotta figure out where it is. Is it CBS?
I don't know. I
I don't
don't know.
know. I don't
Your
know. I gotta
television
figure out
stations, I only know the BBC and Channel 4.
I
And maybe
gotta
ITV now and
figure,
again,
yeah.
when they accidentally make a good drama. Band of Harp J says Putin's Ukraine misadventures are giving the environment a slap in the face. That is very true. All war is really, really bad for the environment. One Angry Pagan says the ecological and environmental damage being caused by our willful and unwillful ignorance and greed is disgraceful. We can only ignore the problem for so long. You're right, One Angry Pagan. And it is so frustrating that in the 1980s, scientists said that the ozone layer was thinning in the southern hemisphere over Australia and Antarctica in particular, and we really needed to address this because it would mean that harmful UV radiation would make it to the earth and give people, well, first of all, it would give people skin cancer, and secondly, it would destroy crops and cause other problems. We don't like radiation, not a great thing. So that's why we all don't go to Pripyat every year for our jollies. Anyway, so the governments of the world all got together and said, let's ban CFCs. And they used alternatives in refrigerators and in aerosol cans, and they banned them worldwide. And then the hole in the ozone layer started, slowly, to repair itself. It's still not there. It won't be there for a long time to come, but at least the damage wasn't getting any worse. Whereas with climate change, we've done exactly the opposite of that. We've had politicians who've made it their life's work to burn as much fossil fuel as possible for some reason, and then claiming that it's for American jobs or British jobs or Argentinian jobs or someone's jobs.
Yeah. It's all for the jobs instead of actually going for the economy and for the environment.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, and this has a lot to do with our lobbying groups, the big oil lobbying groups, they're, and the way that, like, sorry to bring this back, but Trump really deregulated the use of our environmental spaces.
Yeah.
And completely destroyed what was originally supposed to be protected. And he just said, yeah, come on in and destroy it, because he does not care.
Yeah.
Because the apocalypse is supposed to happen and they might as well bring it on. So.
The thing is, the apocalypse is supposed to happen. Climate change isn't going to affect the Holy Land too much. It's going to affect Florida. Like, Florida's going to go underwater. It's going to affect New York. It's going to affect Manhattan. It's going to affect City of London and Paris. Just, what are they? I don't know. I'll say what are they thinking, but they're not thinking clearly. Talking about not thinking clearly, let's talk about JD Vance. So the hillbilly elegy himself, is he's a pretend working class person who just happened to become a venture capitalist in Silicon Valley through a series of misadventures, which included, I think, his grandfather was married into a wealthy family. So he's like hillbilly royalty, I guess. I don't know. But
in Ohio.
He wears eyeliner. Nothing wrong with that, but it just seems a bit at odds with his stance of not wanting anyone to be different ever in any way, or they should send to a camp and learn the lesson.
Like, one of those things that bothers me about JD Vance right now is that he has this whole sort of childless people, the cat ladies, the even the step parents like Kamala Harris is.
Yeah.
Like, he's going after these people as if, like, it's like a massive bullying of these people.
Yeah.
Like, he's attacking a lot of people all at the same time. And it's not like somebody said, hey, you know what? Maybe we should tone it back a little bit on calling, step parents not really parents, and that they're not
As a step parent myself, that I find that quite galling.
It's horrible because yeah, you're attacking like a large swath of people that you're supposed to tell them, oh, family values are family.
Yeah.
Like a family is a family, but he's specifically defining a family as a mother, father, and biological children, and not using IVF, not adopting or step parents. If you are not a parent, if you do not have biological children, you literally, he says, you do not have a stake in the future.
Yeah.
And it's not like somebody's telling him to dial it back.
No, no, no.
They're
They're
actually
telling him to lean
do
into it.
more.
Yeah, yeah. Because it does
And
well with Trump's base. I mean, it's horrible to say, but there's nothing that these guys can do that are going to put their base off. Like, they could literally eat the firstborn of every single Trump voter in the country and televise it on national TV, and they wouldn't lose a single vote. They'd be like, well, you know,
somebody on Fifth Avenue.
I guess my children were tasty and deserve to be eaten. I mean, Donald Trump is going on about Hannibal Lecter an awful lot, so I think he's got some cannibalistic desires in there somewhere. But yeah, but this debate tomorrow, what should we be looking out for? Have you got like a bit of a VP debate bingo card that they're going to say? Do you think that Tim Walz is going to call him weird? Do you think he's just going to say that's a bit weird? That's a bit weird.
So a little bit about like the debate. So usually we've been having recent debates that the moderators, the microphones are going to be cut off while the other person is talking. They're not doing that.
Okay.
But the moderators apparently have the choice that if they want to cut somebody off. So my thing, I feel like JD Vance is going to try to talk. Yeah. Just the way Trump does. Like Trump just talks. He doesn't make any sense. He just says, no, not true. It's the projection side of Trump. And I think that's what's going to happen. And whether or not the moderators are actually going to press the mute button on him, I don't think so. I really don't.
Yeah.
I think it's more compelling TV that way because they realize how horrible the debates are when the other, especially when it's Trump, the aggressive one, trying to take over the conversation for the other one, for the other opponent on that side. So I feel like JD Vance is going to be the Trump of that, and he's just going to talk and he's going to be nonsense. Now, would I like Tim Walz to call him a liar? Because of what he has done with his lies, including cause more chaos in Ohio, in Springfield, Ohio, in which Haitian immigrants are being attacked, that they feel unsafe because he spread this lie about them eating dogs and cats.
Yeah.
And then Trump said it in front of everybody.
Yeah.
And it's it's just continuing. Like this is like Battle of the Midwest, right? Because you have Tim Walz and you have JD Vance, and they both represent the Midwest. Now somebody has to represent the Midwest better than the other person.
Somebody has to.
And I think that's what we're going to be looking out for. It's not for me. It's not for, the coastal elite.
Yeah. Can I just be a little bit derogatory for a moment towards America? I hope you don't mind me saying this, but what is there to do in the Midwest? Like, as a foreigner looking over at the States, I see New York, I see California, Las Vegas, Florida, I guess. Well, the Midwest, it just looks like cornfields to me. I don't know. I can't really...
I mean,
what's there to do? Apart from marry your sister?
In tourism, yes, it's not usually a destination.
Okay.
Now that I don't spend a lot of time. I don't spend a lot of time in the Midwest. Like I have family in Oklahoma. I've been to Ohio. I've been to Utah, Colorado, places like that. But it's not a touristy place. There are touristy places. Big cities are very important. We have.
Did you say Alabama?
No, I definitely did not say Alabama.
Where did you say? Oklahoma. Sorry.
Oklahoma, yes.
Sorry.
But I have family in Oklahoma, and I don't choose to travel there.
Yeah.
Because first off, it's Oklahoma, and right now these states are not safe because because the healthcare, the women's healthcare, LGBTQ rights, they hate Californians, they hate coastal elites there, and especially Democrats. And being a liberal is not really a great place. It's very hard to travel to other places. So I'm like, I will not travel there if I can avoid it because
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
So it's not
And plus, I guess there's nothing to do when you get that. I don't. What's there to do in Oklahoma? Like, I don't know what is there stuff. Is there a theme park or?
Well, historic Route 66 goes through Oklahoma,
Okay.
and
All
so
right.
they've developed the stuff. But like you're for Oklahoma, places like Oklahoma, you're going to Oklahoma City or you're going to Tulsa. And other than that, it's actually
am I
Indian reservations.
am I mixing the plain states with the Rust Belt?
Yeah, Rust Belt is a little bit
eastern and
up more.
Yeah, Pennsylvania.
So we have
that's
Rust Belt, and then
isn't
we
it?
have the Bible Belt down there.
Yeah.
Which is a lot. It's not. It's there are places where it's not safe for a lot of people.
Yeah.
The big cities should be fun.
If you have a sofa, nowhere is safe from JD Vance. Moving on. Ivan, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. Asking, what are the US opinion polls like currently? Dire. Kamala's ahead, like everywhere, right? Pretty much, but only by like 1%, which is within the margin of error, and there are shy Trump voters out there. According to the latest figures from 538.com, it's not called that anymore, is it? It's projects.558.com. The chances, they're saying it's a coin flip at the moment. In their simulation of the election, Harris is due to win 57 times out of 100, whereas Trump wins 42 times out of 100, and one time there is no overall winner, with them both on 269, which is a very scary idea, because I think at that point the Republican-led House of Representatives gets to choose. I think, or the Speaker, who is a Republican, gets to choose who they want to be president, which doesn't seem very democratic to me. So yeah.
Well, we also have the Supreme Court that is the final gavel, and that's a huge problem. And
yes.
It's like, what do you do at this point to actually make a Supreme Court that isn't funded by the Federalist Society? Do you destroy it?
Yes,
he can.
Yeah,
and maybe
it will be legal. It will be legal for Biden to disband the Supreme Court now.
Completely destroy it or expand it. Like, those are your two choices.
Well,
right now.
He could just put those 6 conservatives in jail, or maybe just 3 of them, so the other 3,
Well, there's definitely 2 that could probably, like, I know, like Justice Thomas should go.
Clarence
Thomas should go, because he is the most corrupted, and his wife is also very corrupted in that she's doing stuff that is illegal. For if Jill Biden did stuff that she was doing, Joe Biden would be impeached at that point. That's how bad it is.
Yeah. You're absolutely
definitely
right. But that's unfortunately not going to happen, because the Supreme Court is. I was told that I didn't like democracy this afternoon, because I was saying what Biden should do is just arrest 6 of the Supreme Court members. I'm like, there's nothing democratic about the Supreme Court. It's chosen by the president of the day. The last 3 were all chosen by Trump, which is unfair. He was a one-term president.
One was 100% stolen from him.
Yeah.
And then the last one, Amy Coney Barrett, was pushed through so quickly that there was barely any time to really debate. And then the real, and then of course,
and they are appointed for life, and there's no oversight. There's no oversight whatsoever. if
there
one
is
of them
clear
is
corruption,
Yeah.
and then we can't do anything
No.
about it. We
No,
can't.
we don't.
There is a method to impeach them.
Yeah, but you need a
but
supermajority in the Senate. Yeah.
That requires a Congress and a Senate that is not corrupt.
Yes.
And right now we don't have
It's
that.
corrupt as hell. And also, I mean,
It's
the
corrupt as
Senate, because of the filibuster rules, they can't get anything through. You know, Harris and Biden were lucky to get, 4 or 5 major pieces of legislation through in the last 4 years. Everything else has been blocked because you need 60 senators to say, yes, the debate can go ahead.
Yeah.
So you've got 50 Democrats, fine, or 51. The other 9 or 10 you've got to get from the Republicans, and they've just said, no, we're going to block everything. We're not even going to debate.
And that is Mitch McConnell right there. That is the Mitch McConnell leadership, is let's do nothing. Yeah. And this is what, like, I understand Republicans don't like a functioning government.
Yeah.
But you also need a functioning government.
Yeah.
And because you have to do stuff. We have to get stuff done. And then when we don't, they're all excited about having a non-functioning government. And then they wonder why inflation's out of control and housing's out of control. Yeah. And there's nothing that's getting through. And so you can't actually function as a government. Yeah. So we have to have a functioning government.
Yeah.
Just chopping, blocking it, just like Mitch McConnell has been doing, is actually so bad. And
touche turtle. Sorry, did I freeze then?
It's like, but it's hard to see this, and this does. I mean, it requires the election to be like every eligible voter needs to vote.
Yeah. Yes, that's very
and
true. But this is the problem, Brenna. Like, we're gonna see in the next couple of months that when people go to vote, they're going to be turned away, a lot of them, because of irregularities that the poll workers, the people in the polling booths, they're going to find reasons, because they're all MAGA. They've got thousands of MAGA people who have now got jobs working in those booths. They've trained them what to say and what to do. And they are going to take legal action against anyone who's, I don't know, black, or looks like they might be gay, or Latino, or just someone who doesn't look like they're going to vote for their boy.
An immigrant, or a certain place that they live.
And then there's no chance of those going to court and actually that vote being processed and given to the Democrats, because there's going to come a point in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in all these states that the Republicans are gumming up the works. They've set this in place already to gum up the works, and then come about mid-December, just like in December 2000, the Supreme Court will say, stop the count. Yeah. Our boy is ahead. Stop the count. Guarantee it. Yeah. I'll bet me hat on it.
Yeah.
And the Democrats need to stop this. Like, they have the opportunity, they have the means and the opportunity to stop this. And I think the best way they could do it is the day after the election. I think they should arrest half the Supreme Court. And also, I think they should arrest anyone who has in any way impeded an American citizen from casting a lawful vote.
And that includes those are the governors.
Yep.
Those are the Secretary of
Just
States.
Arrest them. And the thing is,
in places like Texas, that are Florida, Stacey Abrams ran for governor there, and they had to stop the vote because what was going on? Oh, the Secretary of State was the one that was running against her. Who was in charge of voter rolls and voter registration.
Wow.
And absolutely left voter registration cards on the side. Didn't process them through. Don't you think that guy deserves to be arrested for impeding this?
But the thing is, and the Supreme Court have just handed Biden the golden ticket to go and just freaking do this.
Whatever he wanted.
Because they have said he's above the law. So use that to get all these motherfuckers arrested, and then afterwards change the law back. Get a Supreme Court in that is sensible, that says, oh my God, of course the president isn't above the law.
We need the Voting Rights Amendment completely restored.
Yes.
And that's something that has been stripped away and
gutted
has created
in 2014, was it? It's 10 years now?
Yeah, and so we need the Voting Rights Amendment, we need the Equal Rights Amendment, we need our climate. I was talking to my brother about this yesterday. We have the UN has the child, I don't know, it was like the rights of a child thing.
Yeah.
We don't have that here. Wow. Children do not have they do not have the same rights as other.
I believe in some states in America, it's still it's illegal to marry a child so long as the child's parents give consent.
Yes, and the best way to get consent is to get the girl pregnant.
Wow.
And then, of course, we don't have abortion or anything like that in these states, and thus you have to marry them. So, guess, yeah, this is what we have. We have no equal rights.
2026 and half the states of America, this is the situation right now.
Yeah. Welcome to America.
Do you know any women who are voting for Trump who want this? Who I want my daughters to, have to have their rapist child.
So the only people that I know who are voting, have ever talked about, I don't, because first off, we don't talk politics because I work in a public school, so we don't talk about politics there.
That's a state school to us, yeah.
Yeah, publicly funded. So
so in the UK, a public school is a private school because we make no sense ever.
You don't have to.
No, thank you.
We
invented this language. We can do what the hell we like to it. Actually, we didn't invent it. We just stole it off other people. Ivan, thank you very much for the super chat, mate.
That's so true. We perfected it.
Voter suppression is bad enough in the UK, but this is repugnant in the US. Couldn't agree more, Ivan. So you were just saying the people that you know who are voting for Trump.
So I don't know anybody that has directly talked, but in the past, when it comes to Republican candidates, usually, especially in this area where we are fairly wealthy, we're coastal elites, we don't really go with they like the personality or their thoughts about environment is on point. It's literally taxes, and which again doesn't make any sense because the people around here are not in the tax bracket that say a Trump would be going for, because they don't, they're not making billions of dollars a year and then investing in stock markets and stuff like that, which is what what Trump tax breaks are. Yeah. So they believe that voting Republican is going to make them rich, which it's absolutely not.
Oh, those and I still want to see children.
Because we've already seen Trump's economic plans before, because it was to cut taxes for the wealthy, pretending it's cutting
welfare
taxes
for everyone else.
Pretending it's going to lower the taxes of middle class people, but then you have all that stuff that those taxes were paying for to be down the tube, because you cannot have welfare because they don't like that because government assistance. Yeah. But hey, what happens when a hurricane completely destroys half the country? Where do you think they're going to recover from?
Yeah,
it's going to be the tax. We are donor states here, California, New York. These are the people that are. We do have socialism, and it's keeping people from. It's keeping these states from being completely destroyed into a third world country. Yeah. Because we have to, because we are 50 little sovereign countries, we still have to live together.
Well, I mean, you've seen what's happened in Argentina under Javier Milei, who has just decided to completely destroy the economy over there. He's taken a chainsaw to Social Security and any kind of government-funded projects he's got rid of. And as a result, poverty now in this, what was the richest country in the world in the turn of the 20th century, 50% of the population is now below the poverty line. 50%. And that's the way that the US will go. And most of that 50% will be the banjo-playing, toothless yokels who voted for Trump.
Yeah. It's
Guarantee
it's going to be poor white people.
Yep.
Like the people who are voting against their own interests are the ones that are going to suffer the most.
Yeah.
And they don't realize it because what they're being told is that the actual problems are the liberals, the immigrants,
the underground trans mafia.
I was going to say the LGBTQ people.
Yes.
The natives. I don't know.
We've had a really good idea come in from, and we're going to try and find who sent it before I say it, but I can't find it. Sorry, whoever sent it in, that's a very bloody good idea. Oh, it was the serendipity journey. That was very serendipitous of you. Everyone should go into the polling station in disguise, wearing Trump t-shirts and hats, but vote for Kamala. Yes, get the message out there. Brenna, tell people, wear your MAGA hats, go in, so they let you vote, because otherwise they won't let you vote. Wear your MAGA hat. In fact, that makes even more sense if you're black, or if you're Latino, or if you're, from another country, or you're Muslim. Wear your MAGA hat, and they'll be like, yes, we've got people from different places that aren't poor, white, uneducated males voting for our man, our guy, our nightmare, our fascist, our dictator, our sum of all fears, which is, the orange nightmare. But it is just the fact that this is the guy who was, when we talk about Trump, he was on the hook for over 90 felony counts and 4 different criminal cases, which ranged from paying off a porn star to literally trying to subvert the democracy of the United States of America. Launching an insurrection against the government, the parliament building of the United States of America. And not only has he got away with that completely and utterly, he's not going to go to jail or nothing. It's very likely that he'll be the next Prime Minister of the United States of America. Yeah. That's like Benedict Arnold being made president. Straight after the Civil War. Revolutionary War. Wrong war.
I mean, we're a step away from just having him appointed. I mean, literally with the way that the Supreme Court is, it's not beyond. So what we have to do is we have to break the voting so much. Like we have to go out there and we have to be proud of voting. And I think this is something that, like, for me, I grew up in a Democratic family. We loved voting. We participated in our government. And I think that has been lost over the years because, especially after, Bush, where your vote didn't count.
Yeah.
And after that, it just went from downhill from there. And I think, and Trump did the same thing. Trump not only did that, he made sure that there was a reaction to that sort of voting where, yes, you could lose the popular vote, but still be president, which means he's thinking when the insurrection happened, that because even though he lost the popular vote, that he should have won, because that's not because we are a screwed up country in the way that we do the Electoral College.
Yeah.
It isn't it's not one person, one vote.
I have a question. Are you allowed to wear a MAGA hat while you're voting?
There are certain laws about what you can have visible on you. I'm not sure because I don't go into a polling booth. We have automatic absentee voter, so I get it in the mail. So we do mail in. There are places in which they do have laws, so you need to make sure that before you have. I know it seems cliche, but you have to have a voting plan.
Yeah,
because if you're
here's my plan. Here's my plan, because you don't need everyone to buy a hat. You just need someone to be at every polling station with 50 hats in a box. And as people are queuing up, you go up to them and go, are you voting for Kamala? And when they go, yeah, you go, can you wear this inside so they let you vote?
There you go.
And then when they come out, they can give the hat back and we can give that to the next person in the queue. In fact, you don't even need 50 hats, but I mean, not just to be on the safe side.
Just start handing
I've seen some of those queues. Yeah. God.
Yeah, I don't like that stuff anymore. Like to me, it's appalling that have a bunch of people just standing in a line for
Yes.
hours on hours. But it
And
just
they're not allowed to be given water. Don't give
no
them
no
water. We'll make a
water, no
law to say that the
snacks.
people queuing up to vote for 12 hours in the baking heat or the freezing cold can't have water.
And we don't have a national election day, so it's not a holiday.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Got to take time off work to vote.
s- so some companies
You
will
know
pay
that, you know
you.
why it was a Tuesday? It was to keep the farmers happy and so they could go to church on the Sunday.
They go to church on Sunday, they pack up on Monday, they go to their polling place because it was usually just in one big city
Yeah.
where
You
you
have to
went.
travel there. Yeah.
And so you had to go to church on Sunday, you packed up and went on Monday, and then Tuesday you voted. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
What you want to say, Brenna, is you want to tell them that the only reason why it's not on Saturdays is because of Jewish people, because that's their Sabbath, because they secretly run everything, and then
Yeah.
all the MAGA lot will go, "What? Oh my God, we should make it on Saturday. That'll show them. That'll show those Jewish people." And
Well,
luckily,
luckily,
if you are Jewish, you will be able to vote after sundown on the Sunday, on the Saturday. So you know it
so
works out for everyone.
so just for everybody, like it really every state has different laws about voting. Um, we have mail-in ballots here. They should be going out within the next couple of weeks, maybe week and a half.
Yeah,
And then you have a month to turn them in. After about 3 days before election day, don't send them in. You need to take them to a polling place and drop them off.
yeah,
Because after a certain time they won't accept it. In other places you have to wait in line, you have to have ID. Like these are like plan to vote.
yeah,
Don't be discouraged by the way that especially the right wing has been talking about voting. You need to vote.
yeah,
This is a duty that we have. It is a job that we need to do.
yeah,
Because we cannot handle this anymore. We need to put Trump in the dumpster bin.
yeah, yeah.
We can't handle this because yes, there are possibilities that there will be worse people out after that, but we need to continue to work at this. And it hurts me that there are people out there that don't want to participate and then they complain about
Yeah.
how horrible things are. And it's like, well, you didn't participate. So I'm sorry, but this is really important to me. Participate.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely. Right,
so
let's
vote.
vote. I don't know if there's any
Vote, vote,
Yanks
vote.
watching this, but if there are,
Vote,
vote. Vote and vote again. Get all your dead family and relatives to vote as well. Only joking. That was a joke. That obviously, Jesus. Don't at me. So let's talk about JD Vance a little bit more. So this guy, he pretended that he was from this, this poor working class family, and he wasn't really. He kind of just made it up. I just found out there was a film made of Hillbilly Elegy. Directed by none other than Ron Howard. Yeah, Richie Cunningham from Happy Days, who also directed Apollo 13 and Willow and The Da Vinci Code and lots of other either terrible or awesome movies. And he directed it in 2020. And it got panned by the critics as being absolutely bloody awful. Thank you. I just got given a jar of water.
Oh, ooh.
I needed that.
Your assistant.
Telepathy.
You go.
But yeah, so he wrote this book, and this sort of got him a bit of a platform, didn't it? But
Well, it made him into what the caricature of what he is.
Yeah, yeah.
It almost was like he was creating his own backstory.
Yeah. Which to some people, I guess that appeals to them. One of the leading components of Brexit, the Brexit vote in this country, was white working class men who felt left behind, who felt like that they weren't being listened to, which is understandable. I get why people do feel that way when they don't see any representation of themselves on TV because they didn't go to a posh school, but then they see representations of people from ethnic minorities or gay people or trans people who did go to a posh school, and that's why they're on TV. And they're like, oh, hang on, no, that's not fair. That's discrimination against me. And it's not.
Yeah.
It is, but it's not. It's not in the way that you think. We don't really have much in the way of affirmative action in this country, and it's just been made illegal over in the States, hasn't it? Affirmative
Yeah,
action
we
by the
got
Supreme Court.
affirmative action, and what's really interesting is that
Yeah,
then these Ivy League or advanced schools are now complaining
yeah,
because they're actually not getting the wealth in there, which is like a lot of the Asian students are that come over and they need to get into these schools. They bring over the wealth. A lot
yeah,
of foreign students come over bringing the wealth. They're not getting that because what they're doing is they're getting legacy,
yeah.
because that was the whole reason. And legacies don't do anything. Legacies give you a little bit of money in the beginning and then they don't do anything.
Mm,
And they're not getting the high quality students there.
yeah,
And they're
yeah.
actually starting to
Well,
complain about it.
talking of high quality students, JD Vance went to Yale, so there he was in the Appalachian Mountain. No, not the Appalachian. God, my geography's all over the shop here. Ohio. Did he grow up in Ohio? Is he at the Ohio?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's there in Ohio, and he's making moonshine in his bath with a stick. And then, the letter comes through the door. You get to go to one of the most prestigious and expensive colleges in the world. And he went, okay, cool, because this happens all the time to working class people from Ohio. And he went over to Yale, and then he became a venture capitalist, a vulture capitalist, naming his company after one of the rings from the Lord of the Rings, one of the elven rings. Narya. Because his mate Peter Thiel, who's also his biggest backer, he named his company after the Planeteer, the Seeing Stones of Lord of the Rings, which I keep being told aren't necessarily evil, but they were turned evil, the three of them that we know of in the Lord of the Rings, because of the influence of Sauron.
Oh my God, you're a nerd.
I call my company my company is called Elendel Star after Elrond's dad, who had a star on his ship that sailed through the sky. Anyway, but yeah, tech nerds should not be put in charge of anything except maybe a YouTube channel. That's about it.
There you go.
Draw the line there. Certainly not a country, especially if you're Peter Thiel, because Peter Thiel is demonstrably evil and one of the main backers of Gammon Box News here in the UK. So you can wonder where all that juicy money comes from that they like to burn on the GB News channel. It comes from Peter Thiel. And also the dad of the banjoist from Mumford and Sons, who are shite. But yeah, so what I find amusing about JD Vance is the way he trash talked Trump for many years. Like he called him America's Hitler. He called him an idiot. He said he was never a Trump guy. He said that he was cultural heroin. Mm-hmm. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place. Not my words, Lynn, but the words of JD Vance about the man that is now his running mate.
This is I have this vision for the debate where all the candidates are going to come out, then they're going to have a song or something. I want Tim Walz. There is if you haven't heard it on TikTok or whatnot, it is a remix of JD Vance saying that he's a never Trump guy. And it's this really nice short little remix of it. I want Tim Walz to walk out to that just because I want that to be out there, that JD Vance, the man who is Trump's running mate, does not like Trump. Like just burn it into him that you said this. Now you have to defend what you said. And that is what I hope about the debate is that I want JD Vance to be forced to defend what he said. Because now, look, if you change your mind, you change your mind.
Yeah.
But you need to say something because that stuff is out there.
I don't know if Republicans are allowed to change their minds, are they? I know that Democrats aren't, or Labour people in this country are not allowed to change their mind about anything ever, or they're flip-flopping. Even if the evidence changes in front of your very eyes, you cannot change your mind.
Liberal literally means to broaden, to widen, to open to other ideas. And conservative is literally the opposite of that.
Digest information.
Not to change.
Yeah.
It's not to change.
Digest information and react to new information is a bad thing in a Republican's
Yeah.
mindset. Puddinator, thank you very much for the super chat, my friend.
Oh, we have super chat.
Better than Bill Gates, who named his company after his dick. Microsoft. I love that. By the way, Graham, a little reminder about the Discord message I sent a few days back. Yes, sorry. My place has been in Bedlam. I've been over in Liverpool, been down to London, up in London, down in London for the March show. I'm back now. I've just written on my little pad next to me computer here, check your Discord. So I will do that. And One Angry Pagan is telling us about the largest geothermal field is located in California, and it's made up of 22 power plants. It was the first geothermal area to be used for commercial electricity generation. There were more in Cali as well. Well, there you go. Geothermic power. I thought that was only something that they had in like Iceland and New Zealand.
Definitely here in California, because we have so much, I would say, unlivable land that we can use it for power generation, and we do. We have solar power farms.
LA's pretty unlivable unless you're a sentient car.
Oh yeah. I have to agree with you on that one.
I once walked from Hollywood Boulevard or whatever, where the stars are. I wanted to walk up to the Hollywood sign. Oh my God. It was like trying to get to the back of Beyond. I had to cross like 7 freeways or something.
Yeah.
You can't just cross them like a normal person. You got to walk along them for like 7 miles. And then finally there's an underpass that allows you to get under. And then you got to walk all the way back. Yeah, bit of a nightmare.
I was just in Inglewood, and that place, yes. So that's where the SoFi Stadium is.
Yeah.
That's where they just put the Intuit Stadium for the Clippers, and they're building more and more because, of course, we're getting ready for the World Cup, and we're getting ready for the Olympics. So they're just like crazy building over there. You can't drive around that. You can't even drive around.
Oh, what? God, you can't even drive. So even sentient cars are not going to get anywhere.
It's not even like there's hardly roads. Like there's hardly roads to drive around anymore. Like we were going in order to get to this one place, which is right next to SoFi Stadium. We had to go down a residential street because they had half of it closed, because they're working on it, because they're not even done preparing for these major international sport events.
Yeah.
And they just opened the Intuit. So it's like, welcome to LA.
Ivan Ambrose, thank you very much for the super chat, mate. It's really kind of you. Talking about changing minds, Boris Johnson changed his minds more times during COVID than every other person on the planet put together. Yes, you're absolutely right, as we're finding out with his shitty memoir that's being serialized in the Daily Fail in this country. I was going to mention about JD Vance and his lack of support for Ukraine. He said in 2022, when he was being interviewed by Steve Bannon, convicted felon, and I think he's in jail now, isn't he? Steve Bannon for a few months. He said to Steve Bannon that he doesn't really care what happens to Ukraine one way or another.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's put him in charge. Let's put him a chicken bone or a missed heartbeat away from the presidency.
So exactly. So I was just going to say, like, the reason why we have vice presidents and the reason why it's important is because, first off, they are, if something happens to the president in one way or the other, they are in charge. Yeah. So they get up in the world. They're also in charge of breaking ties in our Senate. Now, in normal years past, it's been fine. We didn't really have to have a tiebreaker vote for anything, but because we are only 51, away, like barely a majority, we have to have somebody there who will make the right decision. Yeah. And so it very is important to have that. Now, we could get rid of that if we, voted more and actually got more senators in there on our side, but we are stuck with having to have a vice president to break those ties.
Yeah. Well, we could.
And they are absolutely allowed.
The US voting system is due an overhaul, I think. Getting rid of the electoral college would really help, because you've got millions of votes, some of which go to Republicans that just don't count. So there's more, I think I read there's more registered Republicans in California than there are people in North Dakota. And their votes
Yeah.
don't count because the Democrats always win in California and always will win in California.
Yeah, because we set up policies that actually are good.
That actually help people.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
JD Vance is another fun fact about JD Vance. His
Ooh.
Mama and Papa were Union Democrats, so they were Democrats, born and bred.
Well, most working class people, especially when it comes to unions, are liberal voters
Yeah,
because there is one party that hates unions, and
yeah,
they've been systematically destroying unions. And
yeah,
Reagan was a big part of this,
yeah,
which is really interesting considering he was in charge. He was the SAG union. He was a president of the SAG union. And then he just decided that unions
my
suck.
my my union's all right, but all the others aren't. Um,
Exactly. It's
yeah,
okay for some unions, but like auto workers shouldn't have unions because, they want,
yeah.
pay and health and
But
safety.
can I just say Vendetta before said, isn't Inglewood in GTA 3? Yes, that's exactly what I thought of. When you said Inglewood, I thought, oh, that's in Grand Theft Auto. But I didn't say it. But yeah, Vendetta's saying it for me. But yeah, so, but what this means with Vance rebelling against his grandparents who raised him.
Yeah.
Essentially, this whole thing is him just being a little teenage rebel and going, well, I'm not going to vote the same way as my parents. I'm going to vote a completely different way. So instead of voting for, Democratic Democrats, I'm going to vote for Republican fascists instead. That'll learn
Yeah,
them.
I mean
That'll
that
teach
went
them for
that
bringing me up.
that's
Bastards.
yeah, that's a little far off from what you were raised with.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
that'll learn you for raising me and feeding me and not letting me
yeah.
starve.
Yeah, giving me food and
And get me
shelter,
into Yale. Get me into freaking Yale.
education.
Yeah. How'd you like those apples? Anyway, so the guy is just an absolute creep. Now, I heard the story, and I don't know if you've heard this, that he raised money for a charity and he spent it all on himself. Have you heard about this?
I have not heard about that.
He raised several million for a charity and he
That
just spent it
was
on his election fund. I'm going to Google it now because I'm a bit worried that it might have been a different nightmare. Vance charity.
Maybe that was just something in your head.
Took the money. No, it's JD Vance anti-drugs charity. This was supposed to be for people, I think, who were elected, who were addicted, not elected, addicted to what's that drug that everyone's addicted to in America? The opioid. Fentanyl. Yes.
Fentanyl. It's mostly killing people, but yeah, I understand.
Okay, so you go. JD Vance created a sham non-profit, boosting himself instead of helping Ohioans. This is from August 2021. According to a new investigation from Business Insider, JD Vance created a non-profit focused on combating the opioid epidemic that was a charade and superficial, bolstering himself and his personal ambitions. In its first year, the group spent more money paying Vance's top political advisor than on programs to fight opioid abuse. Wow.
Oh yeah, this is a really great guy. Everybody.
Wow. So Mike Bayer of the Ohio Democratic Party said, only a Silicon Valley millionaire like JD Vance would use Ohio's opioid crisis as a way to bolster his political career and enrich his political cronies.
It's such a Republican thing to do, though.
Do you know what? It really pisses me off because every time we raise
Trump
money,
does this.
Every time we raise money for as a content creator, and we'll raise like a couple of grand. Not a couple of million, like a couple of grand. We get told that we're being grifters, even if we're raising money for homeless shelters or for going to Ukraine and delivering children's Christmas presents or saving a cat's life. Whatever it is, we're told, oh look, you're on the grift. You're on the grift, you are. And I'm like, look at what they're doing on the other side, and they just seem to get away with it.
Yeah, and nobody's thinking, oh, maybe. Especially now when it's like Trump has literally had to shut down his nonprofit, his businesses because he is a grifter, and people are still giving him money.
Yes. Yeah, willingly.
willingly.
Absolutely willingly. They're just like, please take my money. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
Painful.
Yeah. They're buying his stuff. It's weird.
Ivan Ambrose.
It really is weird.
Ivan Ambrose in the chat says the UK electoral system needs a complete overhaul too. Proportional representation is a must.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't agree more.
I agree. That would mean that California would be the most represented state, which they don't want. That's why they're keeping.
Do you know why?
Keeping exactly.
Do you know why they don't want it? Because they're eating the cats. They're eating the dogs. What's a dog? Have you ever met a dog? Is that like a thing you have in
Not
America?
Here.
Is it like a little novelty thing that moves its head or something? Is that a dog? No,
I mean,
we don't have. We have dogs
things,
in this country, but that's got an O in it, not a W. It's a bit of a strange word. So apparently they're eating them in Springfield, Ohio.
Not here. California, we're a little different.
Okay, cool. What do you eat over there?
As long as they have to be organic. That's the thing here.
Oh, okay. Organic bears.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, do you guys go out hunting? Don't you? What do you hunt out there? Badgers, bears, hippopotamuses, hippopotami.
We do a lot of fishing because we have a lot of coast.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, real men fish. I've seen a lot of Tinder profiles where the guy is holding a big fish. That's a big thing. I mean, not that I was looking for men with big fish. It's just that people screen cap it and then put it on social media for us to all laugh at. Because it's just something that some men of a certain age.
I like this trend that women are using other things like pastries and holding them up like they do with the yeah, it's hilarious.
I mean, the only person that's going to impress is other people who catch fish, who are generally men. So unless you're on Grindr and you're specifically looking for a hairy, salty fisherman to get with, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But whatever.
Yeah,
whatever. What you want? Picture of a fish, and you want to put in your.
I don't want to yuck somebody's yum. So
yeah, you want to put in your profile. Hello, my name is Graham. I like to correct people. Oh, you'll be swimming in people swiping right on you like crazy. You'll be the most swiped right person in existence. I just like to correct people.
These Republican men are having trouble dating because they're Republican.
Yes, we're having people complaining about this in the UK as well.
Oh, nice.
I go out on a date and we sit down and I tell them that I'm a Tory and then they stand up and walk out of the restaurant. And you're like, yes, because you've just basically said I have no morals and I think that women are scum. Exactly. And I should have no rights at all.
That's what the problem is. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why that idiot date right stuff.
Yeah.
Who does those horrible videos? Like his dating app is failing too.
Ha!
So yeah. Well, he's
no surprise there.
He's a compulsive gambler and got kicked out of the Trump administration because they found out that he was a gambler, which he can't be because that means you have more likely to steal. From the government for that kind of stuff, but background checks.
But if you sit down on a date with someone who is a MAGA Republican, they are essentially saying by wearing that hat that they would see no problem in them raping you and then forcing you to have their baby,
and then taking away any welfare that will keep you and the baby alive. They're taking that.
Yeah, they want to say that as well.
A terrible education system so that you're not smart, a terrible healthcare system so that you're sick all the time.
Yeah.
And you might as well just die poor.
Well, last week was the Labour Party conference. This week is the Tory Party conference here in the UK. And today they've been talking. Oh. They had an event that was called Breed for Britain.
Don't bring that over here.
It kind of makes the sick come up my throat a little bit. Just thinking about this is conservatives saying, well, you know what this world needs? More of us. Chinless, goofy, neo-aristocratic dickheads.
Inbreds.
Inbreds, yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of JD Vance's stance here. That's
because you've got the two things. You've got the aristocracy, which has traditionally fucked its sister, and then you've got hillbillies who have traditionally fucked their sister, and now they've got together to support Trump.
Yeah, and that's
how it works.
That's how, and then they keep continuing to breed, and that's how we get idiocracy.
It's coming true, Brenna. It's coming true.
I don't like it because I love that movie so much, and it's just like every little thing is
So
like,
real.
oh God, it's real.
Hulk Hogan at the Republican National Conference, like that was Idiocracy. That was that scene from Idiocracy where they bring out the president.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Anyway, we've got some good news before we go. We've got 5 minutes over. Have you got any good news for us from the States? Is anything?
Let's think about this for a little bit. Good news, good news, good news.
Voter registration's up since Taylor Swift said that she was supporting Kamala.
I mean, that's a net positive right there. And I think her throwing her hat into the race kind of like that is really good, especially for seeing those young people. But what's really interesting about, if you actually look at the demographics of Taylor Swift fans, they're my people. They're the millennials.
Yeah.
And which is the largest voting block right now are the millennials, because we were part of that baby boom, that 80s, 90s baby boom. So we are actually such a large voting block, and we're the ones that are influencing the younger generations. Yeah. So keep up the good work. But let me reiterate, us in the States have a voting plan.
Yeah.
Right now, today, write it down. When do you get your ballots if you get them in the mail like ours? Do you have, I got, the other day, I got my little practice ballot, just kind of a little, and then I'm going to get the real practice ballot, like the one that has all the other stuff in it. And then we'll get our ballots. And that's how we need to do. And they have all the information on it. If you don't know, your Secretary of State has all that information. Because states are different, our state laws about voting are different, which is ridiculous. I think it should be a national voting. I think we should just, I don't know, maybe that's just me, because I think having such a wide variety of voting laws is not for a functional democracy.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine for statewide, like each state, fine, have your own rules for electing people to your state legislature.
But we need one rule.
But one rule to rule for federal. It should be standardized like the currency. It's not like you have Californian dollars and North Dakota dollars and Oklahoman dollars. You just have the dollar. Yeah. And that's the same everywhere across America, and that's the way
it's respected across that. Yes.
I've just had a brilliant idea for a film based on what Sarah Davis has said. So if I ever make this movie, you'll get half the money for it. Like The Hills Have Eyes. How about we remake The Hills Have Eyes, but it's set in the UK, and it's a bunch of toffs instead of hillbillies. Inbreeds. It's like Reese Mogg and his family terrorizing this poor group of teenagers who have just come camping for the weekend on their estate. On their you've got an estate. We're going to hunt them. We're going to hunt them. We're going to hunt the plebs. Be brilliant. God. Okay, I'd watch that movie. Horrifying it would be. Anyway, and they keep all the inbred cousins who they don't talk about. They're all kept in the cellar. And they let them out, they open up the cellar, let out the freaks, and they all come out. And they've got monocles and stuff, and they go, oh yeah, while they try to eat your leg. Anyway, right, Brenna, we better go because we are 9 minutes over time, and I'm sure you've got cool things to do over in California. You're going surfing later, I should imagine, or skateboarding on your rollerblades.
Do you think that's what we do here? That's
funny. I've seen the films. I've seen the TV shows. That's all you do.
That's what all the little high school kids do.
You go to school. You go to school on your surfboard. I'm gonna surf my way to school.
Hang out. There's no homework. They don't have jobs.
No, and everyone lives in a big, massive fuck off house, which is amazing because the parents don't seem to actually do any work. They just stand around.
The parents are never there.
Wisecracks. Yes, true. It's because they're working. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and thanks to Brenna for giving us her time over in the States. We'll chat again in a couple of weeks. Thanks to everyone for watching, and thanks to everyone in the chat, and thanks for the super chats. It's really kind of you. Give us a like on the way out. Phil Morehouse will be back in the morning. We'll be here in the morning at 9:30, so don't miss that with Morning Brew. And until then, I'll say thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.